Have you ever noticed that life rarely falls apart all at once? It starts quietly. One unexpected phone call, a disappointing email, a bill you weren't prepared for, an argument with someone you love. Suddenly, your thoughts begin racing. Your chest feels tight. Every small problem starts stacking on top of another until it feels like you're carrying the weight of the entire world. And that's the moment most people lose control. Not because they're weak, but because they've spent their lives believing that peace comes from controlling what happens around them. The Stoics believed the exact opposite. They understood something that most people never discover, even after decades of chasing success, relationships, and security. The calmer your mind depends on your circumstances. The more your circumstances control your life. Think about that. If one rude comment can ruin your entire day, if one setback can convince you that you're failing, if one unexpected problem can steal your sleep, then your peace doesn't belong to you. It belongs to whatever happens next. That's not freedom. That's emotional dependence. More than 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers faced wars, betrayal, exile, illness, political chaos, and unimaginable uncertainty. Yet they developed habits that allowed them to remain composed while everything around them seemed to collapse. Not because they were born different, but because they trained their minds differently. The good news is that these habits are just as powerful today as they were then. In fact, they may be even more valuable now, because we live in a world that profits from keeping your mind distracted, reactive, and emotionally exhausted. Every notification demands your attention. Every headline wants your fear. Every opinion wants your reaction. Calm has become rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. Today, you're going to discover 7 Stoic habits that can help you remain steady when life feels uncertain, overwhelming, or completely out of control. These aren't abstract philosophical ideas. They're practical mental disciplines that change the way you respond to pressure. By the end of this video, you'll realize that staying calm isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about refusing to let temporary chaos become permanent suffering. Let's begin with the first habit. 1. Stop fighting what has already happened. Imagine you're driving to an important meeting. You're prepared. You've left early. Everything is going according to plan. Then traffic comes to a complete stop. Immediately, your mind starts protesting. This shouldn't be happening. Why today? I'm going to be late. The interesting part isn't the traffic. It's the argument happening inside your own head. The traffic exists. That fact is already settled, but your mind keeps trying to negotiate with reality as though frustration could somehow change what's already true. This is one of the biggest sources of unnecessary suffering. We don't just experience difficult situations, we resist them, and that resistance often hurts more than the situation itself. The Stoics understood that the moment something happens, it becomes part of reality. Arguing with reality doesn't erase it. It only drains your energy. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up. It means accepting the present moment before deciding how to respond. There's an enormous difference. Acceptance says, this is where I am. Defeat says, this is where I'll always be. One creates clarity, the other creates hopelessness. When your mind stops wasting energy wishing reality were different, it suddenly has the strength to solve the problem that's actually in front of you. This is why calm people often appear wiser. It's not because they have fewer problems. It's because they stop fighting the existence of problems. The next time something unexpected happens, pause for just a few seconds. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, now that this has happened, what's the smartest thing I can do next? That single question changes everything. It shifts your mind from resistance to responsibility. And responsibility is always calmer than resistance. Because once you stop arguing with reality, you finally have the power to improve it. But even after accepting reality, there's another obstacle that quietly destroys peace: your imagination too. Don't let your mind turn one problem into 10. Have you ever received a message that simply says, we need to talk? That's it. 4 words, nothing else. Within minutes, your brain begins creating stories. Maybe you're in trouble. Maybe someone is angry. Maybe you've done something wrong. Maybe something terrible has happened. Notice something remarkable. None of those things are real. Yet your body reacts as though they are. Your heart beats faster. Your mood changes. Your stress increases. Not because of reality, but because of imagination. The Stoics warned about this long before modern psychology explained it. They recognized that the human mind has an incredible ability to suffer over events that haven't even happened. One small uncertainty becomes a disaster movie playing inside your head. One mistake becomes proof that your future is ruined. One criticism becomes evidence that everyone secretly dislikes you. This is how anxiety quietly grows, not from facts, but from stories. Your imagination is one of the greatest tools you'll ever possess. It allows you to create, innovate, dream, and solve problems. But when left undisciplined, it also becomes the fastest way to manufacture fear. Calm people don't have quieter lives. They have quieter interpretations. When something uncertain happens, they don't rush to complete the story. They wait. They gather information. They separate facts from assumptions. Instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" they ask, "What do I actually know?" That question acts like an anchor. It pulls your mind back to reality. Most of the fears that steal today's peace never become tomorrow's reality. Yet people spend weeks suffering over possibilities that never arrive. Imagine how much mental energy could be saved simply by refusing to predict disasters without evidence. The next time your thoughts begin racing ahead, stop them with 3 simple words. Stick to facts, not assumptions, not guesses, not worst-case scenarios. Facts. Because your mind cannot stay calm if it's constantly fighting imaginary battles. And that's exactly what the third Stoic habit will address. Sometimes the greatest threat to your peace isn't what happens around you. It's how quickly you react before your mind has had a chance to think. 3. Create a space between what happens and how you respond. Imagine someone insults you in front of other people. The words leave their mouth, and before you've even had time to think, your body is already preparing for battle. Your heartbeat quickens, your jaw tightens. Your mind starts building the perfect comeback. In moments like these, most people believe they're making a decision. They're not. They're reacting. And reaction is rarely wisdom. The Stoics understood something that modern neuroscience continues to confirm. There is a brief moment between an event and your response. It's so small that most people never notice it. Yet hidden inside that tiny space is your greatest source of freedom. Most people surrender that freedom without realizing it. Someone criticizes them, so they become angry. Someone ignores them, so they feel rejected. Someone succeeds, so they become jealous. Their emotions are being controlled by external events instead of internal judgment. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that other people's actions belonged to them, but his response belonged to him. That simple distinction changes everything. Because if your peace depends on how other people behave, then they own your peace. Think about how many arguments begin with a single impulsive sentence. One sarcastic reply, one angry text, one emotional decision made in the heat of the moment. A few seconds later, regret arrives, but by then, the damage has already been done. Calm people aren't calm because life treats them differently. They're calm because they delay their first reaction long enough for wisdom to catch up. The next time someone offends you, disappoints you, or pushes your patience to its limit, don't rush to respond. Pause. Take one slow breath, not because breathing magically solves the problem, but because it interrupts the automatic chain between emotion and action. That brief pause gives your rational mind a chance to ask, will my next action make this situation better or worse? It's remarkable how many problems disappear simply because you refuse to react immediately. Sometimes silence protects you more than the perfect argument. Sometimes walking away is stronger than winning. Sometimes doing nothing is the wisest thing you can do. The Stoics never taught emotional suppression. They taught emotional mastery. There's a difference. Suppression buries emotion until it eventually explodes. Mastery acknowledges emotion without allowing it to become the driver of your decisions. When you learn to pause before reacting, people lose the power to manipulate you. Chaos loses its urgency. Pressure loses its grip. And little by little, your mind becomes a place that no one else can control. But even after mastering your reactions, there's another invisible habit that quietly steals your peace every single day: comparison. 4. Stop measuring your life against everyone else's. Imagine waking up feeling grateful your family is healthy, your work is steady, you're making progress. Life isn't perfect, but you're content. Then you open your phone. Within 5 minutes, someone is celebrating a promotion. Someone else is traveling the world. Another person just bought a new house. Another announces an engagement. Someone else is posting photos that make their life appear effortless. Nothing in your own life has changed. Yet somehow, your happiness disappears. What happened? Comparison happened. The Stoics lived in a world without social media, but they understood this trap long before smartphones existed. They knew that the quickest way to become miserable was to judge your own journey by someone else's timeline. Comparison creates an impossible race because the finish line keeps moving. The moment you achieve one goal, someone else appears to have achieved something bigger. You earn more money, someone earns twice as much. You buy your first home, someone buys a mansion. You become healthier, someone looks fitter. There is no end to it. The tragedy is that comparison doesn't only steal your joy, it steals your attention. Instead of asking, "Am I becoming better than I was yesterday?" you begin asking, "Am I doing better than everyone else?" Those are two completely different lives. One is built on growth. The other is built on insecurity. The Stoics believed your only true competition was the person you were yesterday. That's a competition you can actually win. Think back to who you were a year ago. The challenges you've survived, the lessons you've learned, the discipline you've built, the mistakes you've corrected. Those victories matter, but you'll never notice them if you're constantly looking into someone else's lane. Most people only show the highlight reel of their lives. They rarely post the sleepless nights, the failures, the doubts, the debt, the loneliness, the anxiety. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's carefully edited performance. No wonder it feels unfair. The moment you stop measuring your life against strangers is the moment your mind begins to breathe again. Gratitude replaces envy. Purpose replaces competition. Peace replaces pressure. And here's something extraordinary. People who stop chasing other people's lives often make the greatest progress in their own. Because all the energy that was once spent comparing can finally be invested in improving. The Stoics would remind us that another person's success never subtracts from your own potential. There is enough room in this world for you to become exactly who you're capable of becoming, but only if you stop watching everyone else long enough to build your own life. Unfortunately, there's one more habit that quietly destroys inner peace even after you've stopped comparing yourself to others. It's something nearly everyone carries without realizing it. The desperate need to control things that were never theirs to control. 5. Stop trying to control what was never yours to control. There are people who spend years trying to control things that have never belonged to them. They try to control other people's opinions, other people's choices, other people's emotions, the future, the economy, the weather, the outcome of every situation. Then they wonder why they're constantly exhausted. Imagine holding a rope that's tied to a moving train. The harder you pull, the more energy you lose. The train doesn't stop, it simply drags you with it. That's exactly what happens when you attach your peace to things outside your control. One of the most powerful ideas in Stoicism is surprisingly simple. Some things are up to you. Most things are not. At first, this sounds obvious, but very few people actually live this way. Think about how much mental energy disappears every single day worrying about things you cannot influence. What if they don't like me? What if I fail? What if the economy gets worse? What if everything goes wrong? Hours of worry, days of stress, weeks of anxiety. Yet none of that thinking changes reality. It only changes your health, your relationships, your sleep, your ability to think clearly. The Stoics didn't become peaceful because they controlled life. They became peaceful because they stopped demanding that life obey them. There's an incredible freedom in saying, "I cannot control this," not because you've given up, but because you've finally stopped wasting energy. Imagine two sailors caught in the same violent storm. The first curses the wind. He screams at the waves. He complains that the sea isn't fair. The second sailor accepts the storm immediately. He doesn't waste a single second wishing for calm skies. Instead, he adjusts his sails. Both experience the same storm. Only one moves forward. Life works the same way. You cannot stop every storm, but you can learn how to sail through them. The next time you feel overwhelmed, take out a piece of paper. Draw two columns. On one side, write, "Things I can control." On the other side, write, "Things I cannot control." Be brutally honest. Can you control whether people misunderstand you? No. Can you control whether someone appreciates your efforts? No. Can you control tomorrow? No. Can you control your attitude? Yes. Can you control your preparation? Can you control your honesty?
Yes. Can you control your discipline?
Absolutely. Now here's the challenge. Spend your energy only on the first list. Leave the second one alone. Because every minute spent trying to control the uncontrollable is a minute stolen from the things that actually change your life. When you master this habit, something remarkable happens. Problems don't disappear, but panic does. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. Instead, you begin responding to life with confidence, clarity, and intention. But even after learning what you can control, there's another silent thief that keeps people trapped in emotional chaos. It's the habit of carrying yesterday into today. 6. Leave yesterday where it belongs. Imagine carrying a backpack. At first, it's almost empty, light enough that you barely notice it. Then every painful memory becomes another stone. A mistake you made 5 years ago, a conversation you wish had gone differently, someone who betrayed your trust, an opportunity you missed, a failure you can't stop replaying. Day after day, you add another stone. Eventually, the weight becomes unbearable. The strange part is that no one else put those stones there. You did. The past has an extraordinary ability to convince us that it still deserves our attention. We replay old conversations. We rewrite arguments in our heads. We imagine better endings. We punish ourselves for decisions made by a younger version of ourselves who simply didn't know what we know today. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest wastes of human energy, because no amount of regret has ever changed a single moment that's already gone. Think about it. If guilt could rewrite history, if worry could reverse mistakes, if replaying painful memories could create better outcomes, then perhaps holding on to the past would make sense. But it doesn't. The past teaches. It doesn't return. Yet many people wake up every morning carrying yesterday into a brand new day. They've already lost before breakfast because they're fighting battles that no longer exist. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every sunrise offered another chance to begin again. Not because yesterday didn't matter, but because yesterday had already done its job. Its lessons were enough. Its pain didn't need to become permanent. This doesn't mean pretending difficult experiences never happened. It means refusing to build your identity around them. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your greatest embarrassment. You are not the opinion someone formed about you years ago. Those are moments, not your identity. Imagine driving a car while staring only into the rearview mirror. Eventually, you'll crash, not because the mirror is useless, but because it was never meant to become your main focus. The past is your mirror, not your windshield. Learn from it, glance at it when necessary, but don't live inside it. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. People think it's something you give to others. Sometimes it's something you finally give yourself. The moment you stop dragging yesterday behind you is the moment today becomes lighter. Your mind has room to breathe again. Your attention returns to the only place where your life can actually change, the present. And once you've learned to release the past, you're finally ready for the habit that ties everything together. The habit that transforms calm from something you occasionally experience into something you carry with you, regardless of what life throws your way. 7. Build an inner life that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Imagine two people standing in the middle of the same storm. Both lose money. Both experience disappointment. Both receive criticism. Both face uncertainty. Yet one of them completely falls apart. The other remains calm, thinks clearly, and quietly begins moving forward. What made the difference? It wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't even experience. It was where they had built their foundation. Most people build their peace on things that constantly change. Their job, their income, their reputation, their relationships, their appearance, their social status. As long as those things remain stable, they feel secure. But the moment one of them begins to shake, their entire emotional world begins collapsing with it. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest mistakes a person could make, because anything outside of you can be taken away. Money comes and goes. Success rises and falls. People enter your life and sometimes leave. Health changes. Circumstances change. Even the people who praise you today may criticize you tomorrow. If your identity depends on those things, your peace will always be temporary. True calm begins when your greatest source of stability comes from within. That doesn't mean you stop caring about your goals. It means your worth no longer depends on achieving them. Think of a tree during a violent storm. The branches bend. Some leaves fall. Small limbs may even break. But the tree survives because its roots run deep beneath the surface. The stronger the roots, the less frightening the storm. Your character is your root system. Every time you choose honesty over convenience, discipline over comfort, patience over anger, integrity over approval, you strengthen those roots. No one applauds those moments. No one posts them online. Yet those quiet decisions are slowly building a person that life cannot easily shake. This is why Stoicism has remained relevant for over 2,000 years. It isn't teaching you how to avoid difficult times. It's teaching you how to become someone who remains steady during them. Because eventually, every person faces moments they cannot control. A setback, a loss, a betrayal, a season where nothing seems to go according to plan. When those moments arrive, your habits become more important than your emotions. Emotions change by the hour. Habits shape your character for a lifetime. That's why calm isn't something you suddenly discover when life gets difficult. It's something you practice long before the storm arrives. Every time you accept reality instead of resisting it. Every time you refuse to create imaginary disasters. Every time you pause before reacting. Every time you stop comparing your life to someone else's. Every time you focus only on what you can control. Every time you release the weight of yesterday. You are strengthening the one thing life can never take from you. Your mind. And once your mind becomes your safest place, the world becomes a far less frightening place. Because here's the truth most people spend their entire lives chasing. Peace doesn't come from having a perfect life. It comes from having a disciplined mind. The world will always remain unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Unexpected problems will appear without warning. You cannot stop any of that. But you can decide whether those moments will control your inner world. The Stoics understood the greatest victory isn't over other people. It isn't over circumstances. It isn't even over success. The greatest victory is over yourself. The day you stop allowing external chaos to dictate your internal state is the day you become truly free. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you've become stronger than the difficulties you face. Remember, calm is not the absence of storms. It's the presence of stability in the middle of them. So the next time life feels like it's slipping out of your hands, don't ask yourself how to control everything around you. Ask yourself how to master the one thing that has always been yours to command, your own mind. Because once you do that, there is very little the world can do to shake you. If this video helped you see challenges from a different perspective, let me know in the comments. Which of these 7 Stoic habits do you need to practice the most right now? If you enjoyed this journey into Stoic wisdom, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next lesson on building an unshakable mind. Until next time, remember, the strongest person isn't the one who controls the world. It's the one who has learned to control themselves.